Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Will County Board Special Meeting for June 4th, 2024. I will call this meeting to order. County Board Member Dean Schlottman will lead us in the pledge.
Attention to the heritage flag. Pledge allegiance.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Balich, Trainier, Dean Schlottman, Van Dyne, Pretzel, Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Diaz, Winfrey, Coleman, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala. 18.
18 members present. We have a quorum. We'll begin with public comments for agenda items only. Do we have any public comments for today's agenda items? Do we have any public comments for today's agenda items? And the last call. Nothing online? Okay.
Nothing.
All right. There is no old business today. We're moving on to new business. And we will hand that over to, is it going to be Dean Schlottman, or to, who's going to talk about new business, this contract? I don't have is it? Okay. All right.
Is it easier there, Jennifer?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because I usually have it behind Dan. No, I know that. First is resolution 24-142, authorizing the contract for the Will County Landfill Committee Consultant.
There's a motion by Revis, second by Dean Schlottman. Is there any discussion?
Yeah. So the purpose of this is that the landfill committee can have somebody who's a consultant that can give them information regarding the landfill that we have today. We already have a consultant and an attorney for the expansion project. That's not specifically for that. It is to help the landfill committee put together a good plan moving forward. There are other counties that have landfills and they have a standing committee. And it's just to get us to that point. Right now, yes, we could ask staff, but it seems that staff does not always want to give the answers to the questions. So we'd have somebody else to lead us on that. That's all I have.
All right. County Board Member Trainier.
Thank you, Madam Executive. Well, I'm a little dismayed to hear that there's an accusation that our staff isn't answering questions. That really bothers me. I've never had that experience in my 16 plus years on the board. My first question, I guess, is have we put out a request for proposals or qualifications for this position? Or are we just hiring somebody off the street?
Would you like to read? Yeah.
There you go. So it's professional services. With professional services, I can bring a name forward, and that's what I've done with professional services for this particular situation. We need to get this done so we can get this landfill committee meeting moving forward in a positive way.
Are you oh, you have more? Are you, okay. All right, County Board Member Coleman. hold on a second, let me get you on there. Are you read?
Yes.
All right.
So just a few questions. Do we have a maximum amount that we're willing to pay the consultant? Where would the funding be coming from? Like, where are we finding it? What line item are we taking it from? Are we going into reserves? So just where would the funding come from? And then how long we plan on keeping this consultant? So that's 3 questions. How long we plan on keeping the consultant? If there's a maximum amount that we're talking about paying? And once we kind of get to that, where is the funding coming from? Thank you.
Judy, am I just gonna always go back to you with these okay, that's fine. All right, hold on.
There you go. Okay, so the county board budget includes money every year for professional services that will be coming from the county board budget. And if you read the documents attached to the agenda, the contract clearly states that it'd be for 3 months for a total of $15,000.
County Board Member Freeman and then Ballage.
Thank you. Is there a resume? It says, when I was reading through it, it almost seemed like he's working for us because he's continuing. So I guess I have several questions. It says in the resolution that he's willing to continue working with the county board. And I was curious about that. And then, is there a resume? Because when I look him up, all I find is a lawyer. So is there a resume for the consulting section of his career?
So we have 3, you want a res?
Is there a
What about
resume?
continuing? You had 3 things you said. I'm just
Yeah,
trying-
it's mostly, is he working for us now? Because the resolution says he's willing to continue the work and the resume. There's really just 2.
There you go.
So that would be after 3 months, if we decided we needed him to stay on, that he would continue to stay on.
Okay.
And then as far as the resume goes, he is somebody who has worked with this situation before. He's experienced in landfill situations, so. We need to get this going so that we can move this forward. The landfill committee and the board voted for this a while back. We just hadn't brought anyone forward. Professional services, if you sat in the capital improvements committee meeting today, there's a request there from the capital chair, and I'm pretty sure the executives in agreement to bring forward someone that we've been working with. So that's what professional services is. It's not like if we're going out for an RFP or an RFQ. Professional services, you bring somebody forward to the board to vote on.
Yeah, I'm just a little, I have no idea who this man is other than he's a lawyer. So I don't know his reputation for landfill knowledge. So there you go.
We're gonna let Council Tatro chime in here.
Yeah, just some clarification with regard to the professional services. You can go with someone without going for an RFP when you have an established relationship. Otherwise, you should be going out for an RFP. But in this case, the contract is for $15,000. So that is under the threshold that is typically required for a bid, which is at $30,000. But the question then, in view of the comment about continuing to work for the county board, is will it actually be under $30,000 if you renew the contract? So just a caution. I think there's a misunderstanding about when you're required to go out for an RFP for professional services. So is that clear?
Mr. Ballage. So we have a motion to call the question. Is there motion by Ballard, seconded by Revis? Is there any discussion on that? We'll take a roll call on motion to call the question.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Richmond. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Ogella.
Nine and nine, the county executive votes no. So we will continue with discussion. We have sorry. County Board Coleman, you already spoke, right? Can you hit your light for me? For some reason it's, oh, okay, that'll be, okay. County Board Member Mueller, seat 14.
Thank you. I did that all morning this morning. It worked so much better. Thank you. The reason I voted no is because I had a couple questions. I appreciate what Mary clarified. I was actually going to ask her to please clarify that for us since we had such a long discussion about it earlier today. I guess I have similar questions to Member Freeman. In my experience, actually, I actually have met the gentleman in question before, that work is in municipal bonds. So I also wanted to know just what engineering firm or what their work is in landfill work. And maybe there's work like this going on with them in another county that you were talking about. So those were my questions. So if somebody can answer those, great. Thank you.
That Katie? Okay. Sorry, Member Dean Schlottman.
Whenever,
Yeah.
whenever it goes red. Okay, there we go. Mr. Schillerstorm was on the DuPage County Board, and they have 2 landfills. So he is very familiar with reports that need to be given to the county that will help us make decisions going forward. And his knowledge in that area of how it works within a county is one of the reasons why we reached out to him.
County Board Member Berkowitz, I'm going to go through people who haven't spoken, and then I'll go back and get people who have additional questions. County Board Member Berkowitz.
Thank you, Jennifer. So if you were present this morning in Capitol, you saw that the same type of request was passed unanimously by the committee. There are people on the current committee that is not familiar with White and the other company. They don't have resumes, but for such a nominal cost that we're talking about here with this, position right here, I don't know why we need to hold it up any longer. So I would really encourage our county board members to focus. Let's get this going. We really need to get this going. And we're not really talking about a lot of money here today, especially after we just agreed to a proposal with no idea of how much it's going to cost at our capital meeting. So thank you.
You, County Board Member Van Dyne.
Thank you, Madam Executive. I've thought of this position as a duplicate service. I've stated that in committee level, and I still feel that way today at the county board, so I will be voting no on this. Thank you.
County Board Member Revis.
Thank you, Madam Executive. I just want to go on the record as saying, and obviously as a county board member, the onus is on me to understand the issues, but I just don't understand what's going on with the landfill. I feel like when I ask questions about it, no one really has any answers. I understand our current landfill is running out of space and we need to find an alternative to that. So I guess my support for this consultant comes from the fact that I hope he's going to be an individual that can come in here and translate this into some plain English that us as board members can understand. However, I'm not afraid to withdraw my support for this consultant if we can't make a decision or if we're going to, kibitz about this for what I think might be political reasons. I think we have a need for this role. We need to figure out what we're going to do with the landfill. So I just hope that us as a board can come together and make a decision. Obviously, right now, the numbers for today's meeting shows we're at a stalemate, but, we have to make a decision. That's what we're here for. So that's all I have for now. Hopefully, we can come to consensus.
County Board Member Butler.
Thank you. I think it's important for the committee to feel like they're getting unbiased advice. And I'm not putting the blame on anyone or accusing anybody of anything. Like, you got a family member who's hooked up there, or, you got paid vacations by, somebody. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying that we want to be able to make decisions based on the merits. And we don't want to have to feel like we're not getting all the information. So a small fee that we have to pay an outside consultant doesn't seem like it's very unreasonable. We're just asking to get an outside source so that we can make good decisions. And I think that we should support a committee that asks for that. Thank you.
Thank you. County Board, or, who else first time? Oh, County Board Member Williams.
Thank you. I don't disagree with Board Member Butler. I do have a problem with us not giving a lot of information on the consultant that was chosen. Although to me, 15,000 is a nominal amount. And I don't really have a problem with if this is what the committee is recommending. But I do think that if that's the recommendation, that a little bit more information would probably help quite a bit.
County Board Member Coleman.
Thank you.
Follow up.
Yes. So I was a high school teacher for 5 years and then administrator for 6. And then I left and I became a consultant. And sometimes when I walk into schools, I question myself, like, what am I going to give them that they can't, like, what am I going to give the principal? What am I going to give the like, this is something I go through and I've been doing this for 6 years now as a consultant. But there sometimes is a need because people from the outside see things differently than those who are in the mix. But I need to know, other than them being a board member in a county that has 2 landfills, what is this person going to do that our current full-time staff is not completing? Because from what I'm hearing, it sounds like a communication issue and not the competency to understand and expand the landfill here in our own county. So if questions are not being answered or you can't get accurate answers, maybe that's what we should be addressing. Not to say that I'm opposing a consultant, because trust me, I have a fee and but you have to come in and bring something that either there's a lack, right? That we cannot do it. There's no person here that has the experience or the know-how about expanding landfills. And then also to the legalities of when we have to put in an RFP. If we decide, you know what, 3 months wasn't long enough, now do we favor the person who kind of started this journey with us, even though they're going to put in for the RFP if it's at 30K, or, you know, do we actually consider bringing someone else in? So my major concern is, other than the person being on the board in a county that has landfills, because that's us right now too. We're in a county that has landfills and we're on the board. What else are they going to give us that our full-time staff cannot? Thank you.
County Board Member Trenier. Hold on, I got the wrong one.
Oh,
There you
thank
go.
you, Madam Executive. I do have some further questions, but I want to remind everyone here on this board, we had some outside consultants come and talk to us about our courthouse. And boy, oh boy, was there a lot of mistrust. One board member here called them carpetbaggers, deciding that they were somehow trying to take advantage of the county and get an inside scoop on a contract. So, you know, I'm not quite sure why we would trust this consultant. We're paying him money. I think we probably have less reason to, but I would have to agree with Board Member Coleman. You know, he was a board member, just like we're board members. He had staff, just like we have staff. You know, has he ever worked on drafting and a formulation of a solid waste management plan? Has he ever provided consulting services to a county concerning a 5-year update to a county solid waste update like we're currently dealing with? You know, has he ever represented a local unit of government that was serving as a siting authority or in a siting application? I mean, there are a lot of questions. Again, it's a nominal amount of money. I'll probably vote for it, but I don't know. I feel like we're being kind of hypocritical. We have an outside person come and tell us what a great gem we have in our courthouse, how we can reuse this building, and he's called a carpetbagger. Now we're going to pay somebody $15,000 to tell us what our own staff could tell us. And, you know, and by the way, this guy is going to have to get all the information from our staff and from our documents. The same staff that we're saying doesn't give us the answers. So unless he's got a magic wand, not sure. But again, it's $15,000 of taxpayer money. Sounds okay to me.
Okay, seeing no further discussion here. All right. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll. Sorry.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlotman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Richmond. Williams. Diaz.
Still here, IT. Is it? Yeah. Is it Mike Santos? All right.
Want me to finish?
Well, we'll finish the roll call, and then we'll get it taken care of.
Winfrey? Holman? Logan? Freeman? Revis? Ortiz? Berkowitz? Mueller? Ogala? Trainier.
Confirming, yes, you are, yes, Revis, Mr. Revis.
11. Yep. 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 Travis? Yeah. 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. You're at 12. Sorry. 12.
Why, it's
Affirmative.
12 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
I'll see one with all my X's.
All right. Okay, moving on to item number 2. Again, I'm assuming, Chairwoman, you're taking these?
Seven.
There's no numbers here and they're not lighting up. So there's, yeah,
There's no numbers now?
no, so I'm just hitting along the top. No,
you
I
go.
got it. All right, you're on.
All right, item number 2 is resolution 24-143, ordinance setting the salary of the county executive. And I so move.
There's a motion by Ogala, seconded by Mueller. Any discussion? Pardon me? Oh. Well, okay, we're going to.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. County Board Member Trenier. On. We're in this, okay, so motion second, discussion, you're making a motion to amend. Okay. You're on. Oh, no, you're not on. There you go.
Green is good, but red is better, right? So yes, I would like to make a motion to amend the salary of the county executive to $100,000 for fiscal year 2025, followed by the following 3 years with a 2.5% increase each of those 3 additional years.
Second.
There's a motion by Trenier, seconded by Williams. Discussion.
So we
Chair Ogala.
we have spent countless hours over the course of, I can't tell you how long, to come to an agreement of the document that's presented today that you guys all have. Well, maybe Lauren, you don't have one, but sorry. I passed that out. This was an agreed upon 1% increase for the elected officials. Agreed upon in the sense that, you know, the Republican caucus doesn't want an increase at all. Okay, they're all no votes. So work with them, come to agreement. I'm a yes vote on this to make it pass. And now we're having a completely different thing that was totally never discussed, brought forward by the Democratic leader. After all the conversations that we've had, the things that she says to me on a regular basis about whatever her comment is, and then she's not coming forward. I said I wanted to come forward with an agreement for this particular, for the entire agenda for today. That was the conversation that we had. That was the agreement that I thought was made. But as usual, that obviously cannot be trusted by the other side of the aisle's leader. We did not agree for $100,000. That was never even a conversation. Never in anything that she even proposed was that the amount. When I looked at what she proposed, her maximum proposal for the county executive was like $99,116. So I don't know where that came from, but that's really interesting. I'm definitely a no.
County Board, thank you. County Board Member Revis.
I'm withdrawing. It looks like there's no more.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll. So this is on the amended salary.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Richmond. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Ogala. Ortiz. 2, 6, 7, 8 affirmative. 8 affirmative. Ortiz.
8 affirmative, the motion fails. So now we go back to the original motion of, I don't know, County Board Member Trenier. Do you want to refresh?
Yes,
Yeah.
Madam Executive, I do want to correct the record. I have been asking for well over a year to have lengthy, substantive conversation about this very issue. I had to employ the services of our state's attorney in order to even get it on an agenda one month, which of course then it was voted down. The lengthy conversations between myself and the county board chair amounted to about 15 minutes last night, maybe 5 minutes this morning. And both times after we came to an agreement, she made a change. So the fact that I offered a change shouldn't be a big surprise. She's reneged on 2 agreements. And again, this is all being done at the 11th hour, at the 99th minute, when we had a whole year to talk about this. Our county executive pay has not changed in over 16 years. We have saved the county a tremendous amount of money over the last 16 years. The fact that we're now discussing raises once again, it amazes me that we can't seem to get off of this and move forward.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Wow, this is the most unbelievable. I don't know even how to respond. So calling the vote. Go ahead, I'm sorry. There was,
There's a-
we're on the original amendment now. The original, not the amendment, the original proposal with, yeah, the 94.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlotman. Dean Schlotman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Richmond. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Ogala. What do you have? 9. Yeah.
That we had another one, but they walked out? Let you explain, Mary, what's going on here, because everything's a challenge. Please, before I, okay. Thank you.
Go any
Okay,
further.
thank you.
Okay, so there was a roll call. There was a motion made by one of the people who chose to leave in the middle of the vote, and a second was made. We were in the middle of the vote when when the roll call was going on, and when the roll call was going on, some of the people were still in the room that walked out but just didn't vote. Therefore, this was a valid vote. It is 9 affirmative, and it stops there. So so at this point, we believe it's a tie, 9-9. It's up to the county executive.
I ask a clarifying question. Are we able to continue this meeting?
No.
All right. So I will abstain.
So then,
Our goal was to work together to ensure that we would get all of our county-wide to a level. I will say that I want people to hear what the proposition was that we voted on. It was a 1% raise for county-wide. It was a $500 raise for the county board officials, and it was a $10,000 raise for the county board chair, is what the numbers I had here. And so we are not continuing any of this today. So there's an abstention. So when there's a tie, the motion does not pass.
no, it wasn't voted.
Yeah. No, we did not vote on any of this. This is what the proposal was today that
So
we
I mean,
originally were going to work
if
with.
those who are here still want to stay and discuss things, they may.
Okay.
You can do that, but you cannot have any further votes.
Okay. All right. All right.
Without a
Yep.
quorum, although we only have
Yeah.
11 people here, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have a quorum.
Yeah. So we're going to ask a county board member, Trinair. Or I'm sorry, Joe, you had yours up. Do you want to say something? Okay. So we're going to count county board member Van Dyne and then Trinair.
Thank you. I do understand that we don't have a quorum and we can no longer vote on any of these items, which is an absolute shame, because these elected officials take time out of their day to come and try to represent the constituents of our county. Some choose to do that and some choose not to. I believe this county board, the people who are involved in these actions today are childish. And I will say that if I don't like the outcome of a vote, or if I can guess the outcome of a vote and I'm not happy with it, at least I'm man enough to stay here and take that vote, or woman enough to do that. People in this room have demonstrated childish activity, and it's an embarrassment. And I hope the people in Will County pay attention to what goes on here. There's an election in November, and we need to change. Thank you.
County board member Trinair.
Joe, I couldn't have said it better myself. They were paid a salary to be here at these meetings. This is a discussion that we could have had. In the month of April, there was absolutely nothing on our executive committee agenda, not one item. We could have hashed this out. I'm sorry, a 15-minute call the day before a vote, a 5-minute discussion in the morning before the vote, and then a text message changing your vote. She changed the offer without my agreement. So the fact that I tried to do something different shouldn't be looked at any differently than her reneging on the offer that she said we agreed to, because she did renege on the offer. I have it in writing. I would like to know from our state's attorney, can we reconsider the motion? Can I make a request to reconsider the motion on the consultant?
No, you don't have a quorum.
Just somehow get it on the record though, so that.
You can always reconsider, and you can repeal an ordinance or a resolution, so that you can do that. It needs to be on the agenda, though. Yeah.
County Board Member Mueller.
Thanks, everyone. Echoing a bit of what Member Van Dyne and Trinier have said. We get in these situations where we've been talking about things for so long that I think a lot of emotions get in the way when people are unhappy with something that's been presented to them. And rather than staying in the room and voting, people are leaving. And that seems very, it just doesn't seem seems like a lack of integrity, I'm sorry to say, to me. We are working with, and again, I'm going to echo, we're working with county electeds who have not received a raise in their pay since 2008, I believe. All of us have not received anything since 2008 in a raise in pay. And I think that part of the oath that we take is to be more responsible than that to the taxpayers in this county, to make sure they're being provided with the best service and with the best, people fit for these positions. And when we refuse to give increases for even a cost of living for darn near 20 years, that is a dereliction of our duty, I think. And so that's all I'm going to say. I would have liked to see these raises be even higher, but I was going to be willing to vote for the nominal part just so that we could get moving in the right direction. Unfortunately, that opportunity has been taken away from me today. So thank you.
County Board Member Coleman.
Thank you. Just want to put two things on the record. The first one is, I've said this since I started, that the salary is supplemental income for everyone sitting in here, because no one can live off of, board members cannot live off of $23,000 a year. And I know many people say we're public servants, and some people probably think we should do the job for free. I completely disagree. This takes away from people's time with family. If they have a full-time job, they have to put in requests to have time off. And I think it's really unfortunate, disappointing, and very, very unprofessional that we're sitting here after, I know we went back and forth for days trying to schedule this meeting. I rearranged my schedule, and I'm sure other people in here did as well. And so I have a question, and hopefully we can play chess and quit playing checkers. Can these raises for county-wides go on a ballot?
No, statute provides that county board will vote on the raises, on the salaries.
And so when's the next time that we could possibly vote on this?
For the county-wides who are up for election, 4 years from now.
It's a true disservice to our county. We're one of the largest in the state. We don't respect these positions. I have personally talked with all of the county officials, and I feel their jobs with dealing with their own staff, with people coming in and saying they're not doing their job, so we have to pay $15,000 to a consultant, which is nominal for that, but an issue everywhere else. We're saving taxpayers' money, et cetera. But, $15,000 for a consultant. And the reason I said no on that vote is because no one ever said to me what that person is going to do that our full-time staff is not doing. So I just think, I don't know what world people live in. Taxes are going to go up, cost of living is going to go up, and people's salaries need to go up so they can actually afford to live in Will County and have some kind of peace of mind and not just pay their bills. So this speaks to privilege as well, one walking out. Because if we're representing our constituents, I don't think they want us walking out of a meeting. It represents privilege of people who have enough income that they can leave this salary where it is. And it also is a prejudice towards people who actually might want to run if they were getting paid a decent salary. And that's why I would vote for one person in every district with a living wage for them to work. Because this is, as the kids say, what happened today is trash, wasting people's time and thinking, I'll look good if I don't vote for a $7,000 raise in the last 20 years for the person leading the third largest county in the state. And whoever's sitting in that seat, I wouldn't care who it was, because we're not voting for the person in these seats. I'm not running again. I'm voting for a pay raise for the next people coming in because I know how much work it takes. And a lot of people do, some do more than others, but this walking out, wanting to appear, because it's an appearance that I'm for saving taxpayers' dollars by not raising the salaries of the board and the elected officials. But I talked to Duffy. This man told me he has 3 people in his office. I said, you have how many? 3 people running the auditor's office in our, that's a lot of work on those 4 people in that office. The coroner's dealing with all kinds of emotional and serious incidents and bodies come, like all the things that you all have to deal with. And for us to sit here, well, not the people still sitting here, but for people to walk out and say after 16 years, y'all don't need raises. We saving the taxpayers' dollars. Everybody can't afford eggs, so neither should you. So, but I'm done. I'm off my box. Thank you.
We know you're sitting right here.
County Board Member Williams.
Okay, well, I think that what happened here today was unfortunate, but I believe because being a newer member on this board, this is just a further proof of the dysfunction of this county board. We need to get it together in order for this type of thing not to be happening again. If we're going to be making the decisions that need to be made in this county, then we need to act like we are capable of making those decisions. When things like this happens, it shows that that's not the case. We called this meeting, and so, you know, if we hadn't waited to the 11th hour to do it, maybe we could have had some meaningful discussion. And just because somebody brings up a different proposal than what somebody thought they should bring up, that should not be cause for these people to leave. But this is the way that this board functions. And as I said, the dysfunction of this board should be something that we should be ashamed of, all of us, because it's all of us on here. I'm including myself in that situation as well. So we all need to take a blame in this. This particular day, maybe not, but the fact of the matter is, if the board wasn't as dysfunctional as it is, we wouldn't be having the problems that we're having. That's what we need to be looking at.
County Board Member Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Executive. I agree with Joe and Meta and everyone else that has spoken here today on our side of the aisle, because the other side is obviously empty. And I really don't want to waste any more of my colleagues' time. But I do feel that the headlines tomorrow will say taxpayer money has been saved, the Republicans walked out. And I am hoping that they see the bigger picture, that, you know, our jobs were not done today. We did not fulfill the duty that we took the oath of office to complete. So that's all I have to say. It's a shame. Thank you.
And quickly before we adjourn, I do want to thank also the remaining members for the support. I think we can all value the work we do. And I will say, as a person elected official, I'm going to get a zillion texts and say, Jennifer, what did you just do to yourself? But I do value the relationship that I have with the other members and the county board work. And I'm kind of a one for all for one type of person. I wouldn't feel very good about myself. So, but I do appreciate the work that people put in. We live to fight another day. You know, this is what we do. I appreciate the work you did. It's an unfortunate situation that we have occurred here today, but like we've said, this seems to be a reoccurring situation where we have meetings that they don't show up, people walk out. I'm going to tell you, I spent 8 years in Springfield. And a lot of people think Springfield is dysfunctional. I came home thinking something different, and it's so disappointing how people refuse to work, and one goes and they all go. And I'm telling you, it's frustrating. So with that, can I get a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Al, do you have to? Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Executive. Yeah, I stayed within the law. Let me just put that down for the record. as I'm driving 45 miles from Pilsen, Chicago, from my full-time job with the union, to get over here in an hour and a half to carry out my duty and responsibility to this county, 11 board members walk the F out of here? I'm like, I'm not supposed to say bad words, I know, but I am like, and I didn't, right? This is unbelievable. This is my first term on this board. And we're trying to find good quality candidates to take up elected posts. And this is the kind of garbage that we spew out as a county board. Our responsibility is to set, decent, livable wages. And we just can't even do that. Going back to 2008, there's nothing that I have to say that hasn't already been said by Joe, by Jackie, by, everybody in my caucus anyway, Natalie. I've been listening to this, driving over here. It is ridiculous. And county executive, the fact that you've abstained on your salary increase, I commend you. You are a leader for our county. I need voters to vote for responsible leaders like Jennifer, like the Democrats. And I never want this to be a partisan thing because I want to be able to work across the aisle, but there ain't nobody to work with. There ain't nobody there. This is unbelievable. I don't need $23,000 a year. I have a good paying job. And I'm also not trying to be a martyr for myself or the next generation of leaders coming forward. I remember that James Glasgow came to one of our committee meetings and said one of his biggest mistakes was holding the line on his salary because of the wage compression it created for all of the positions below him. And if he could have done that differently, he would have, in hindsight 2020. But we're still making the same mistake as county officials. And we have to wait 4 more years. I don't know if I'm going to be here in 4 years because this is a toxic, dysfunctional work environment. But I am here because I want to do good things for our community. That's why the rest of our caucus is here trying to do good things and to set a plan forward, to be visionary about not what we need tomorrow or the next election, but what's needed for the betterment of our community. And they failed us. The Republicans failed us today. Please put that in the paper. They failed us today.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion Trenier, seconded by Winfrey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting recessed.